Hi, folks. A very warm welcome to season 4, episode 19 of the Lemons and Pineapples podcast with me, Emma O'Brien. Today, I'm going to be sharing with you 12 questions that you can ask yourself to make sure that 2026 is your most magical, brilliant year yet. If the past few New Year's Eves have been you ringing in the new year going, oh, great, maybe next year it'll be better because this year, despite my best of intentions, nothing changed. We are going to put a stop to that right now. For me, 2025 was pretty much a repeat of 2024. It felt like Groundhog Day. A lot of the things I promised myself that would be different, a lot of the things I had intended to change, I didn't. And if I'm really honest, 2025 was a tough year. It was a tough year personally. It was a tough year business-wise. Nothing really shifted or changed. In doing the exercise that I'm going to share with you and answering some of the questions, um, I haven't asked as a question, what did you achieve in 2025? Because I'm going to be honest, I didn't achieve anything. If we were looking at achievements or wins, I don't have anything for you. And as somebody who's a Capricorn and an Enneagram 3, not achieving things is not really my style. 2025 was a foundational build year for me. It was a restructuring year. It was a year of kind of self-exploration and figuring things out and really finding myself and finding the direction I'm going in. So, whilst I didn't really achieve anything outwardly, I can't say to you, hey, here's my financial goals that I hit, didn't. Here's the magical things that I bought, didn't. I don't have anything really to show for last year, for the toil and the toil and trouble. But it has changed me quite radically. So was it a bad year on the surface of it? But fundamentally, it wasn't. A lot of things shifted internally for me. And you will have heard me say this before. I'm going to say it again. Often when we want things to shift outwardly, we have to do the internal work first to get to see the outward change. We have to change what's happening inside, our beliefs, our thoughts, our actions, our words, our behaviors, our habits. All of those things need to change first before the stuff that appears on the outside is different. So that is something that I'm going to be diving into in more depth on the 7th of January. I've got a New Year reflection and intention setting workshop, which I would like to invite you to join me in. The link is in the show notes to sign up for that. These questions that I'm going to share with you now are very foundational for that. We're going to be diving a lot deeper in the workshop into the internal stuff that has to shift in order for 2026 to finish very differently for you and for me, with actually being able to go, I set these intentions at the beginning of the year. I intended for this, this, and this to change, and it did. I intended to see this show up in my life, and it did. Here it is. So we have to just change the internal stuff first before we see external results starting to arrive. Let me jump in, without further ado, into the 12 questions you can ask yourself to make 2026 the year things do actually change. So the first one is to reflect on what went well in 2025. It's difficult for me to answer this question. Maybe you'll have more luck. What went well? Did you have some wins? What went well? What were your wins? What did you achieve? What did you learn? What what brought you happiness and joy? What was good about 2025? You might have to dig a bit deep here, but you will find some things. So for me, as I said, there was no real external, oh wow, look at what I achieved. But I had a great year of introspection, self-reflection. I've done a huge amount of spiritual work, which has taken me on this wonderful journey of adding shamanic practices into my coaching. It's allowed me to morph more into what I feel is my authentic self. It's been a year where I felt more comfortable in my own skin, more comfortable being able to reveal my true self on the podcast here, on my socials, in my writing, on my website. So materially, crap, but internally, it was a good year. It's been a year that's cracked me open, and that is a good thing. Number two, what didn't work? This might be an easier question to answer. Make a list of all the things that did not work for you in 2025, because this is really good information to have. Because if we know what didn't work, what we don't want, what happened that we didn't choose, we can make different decisions going forward. How do we manage? How do we, the things that are within our control that happened that we don't like, what do we do to change that? There's lots of things that you can do. Some stuff, sometimes shit happens, right? But what didn't work? If you've got multiple things that didn't work, there will be areas for some growth and some development work for you to change that. Number three, what patterns repeated in 2025? This might be circumstances and situations that show up at work, dynamics with co-workers, dynamics with a boss. This might be patterns that show up in your personal relationships. Do you find the same scenario playing out with different people as a common denominator, and it's you? What do you need to change within yourself to break this pattern? Half the battle with patterns that repeat, so whether they're behavior patterns or relational patterns, half the battle is noticing that they're there. Because when we bring them into conscious awareness, we can go, oh, I see this thing keeps showing up. Here's how I'm playing into it. Here's how I can be different to break this pattern and break this cycle. We're going to be doing some work on this in the New Year workshop. Number four, what gave you energy and where was your energy drained? So if we have a look at what were the times that you felt really good, that you were in flow, that you were lit up, that time just seemed to kind of evaporate because you were so into a task or enjoying the company of people you were with. Who and what gave you energy last year? Make a list. Who and what drained your energy last year? Make a list. Then we're going to have a look at how do we do more of the things that gave you energy and less of the things that didn't. Number five, who supported you? Who was there in your corner? Maybe it was friends, maybe it was people you worked with, maybe it was a coach, maybe it was a mentor, maybe it was somebody who helped you with your health, your mindset, your business, your relationships. Who supported you? Who was really there for you? Which of the friends really had your back and helped you in the difficult times? And who couldn't meet you where you were at? And maybe there's opportunities for letting go of or reducing time that you spend with the people and the circumstances and situations that don't make you feel good. I'd ask why you're putting your energy there, and how can you shift it and put it elsewhere. Number six, what did 2025 teach you about who you are becoming? As I've touched on, for me, it was very much about stepping into who I am authentically, making friends with myself, really being able to lean into and own, this is me, this is what I stand for, this is who I am, this is what I do, this is the direction I'm taking my work in, and I'm not going to apologize for it. Something you're going to hear me talking about in the next season of the podcast, which will be starting shortly, is this idea of conscious femininity, which is something I've really been leaning into, which is really about coming home to who you are, making friends with your body, bringing your conscious awareness and soul back into your body and really living from your authentic truth. Grounding. Who are you? Can you be present? Who are you? Can you be okay with who you are? So when we're okay with who we are, when we're happy with who we are, we show up differently. Life unfolds differently when we're not constantly doubting ourselves or shrinking to fit or trying to be somebody to make somebody else happy so they love us. Please, I am so done with all of that. What did 2025 teach you about who you are becoming? Number seven, what do you want to be celebrating at the end of 2026? Do you have a list of goals? Do you have a list of intentions? Do you have a list of things that you want to have changed, done, places you wanted to have been, things you wanted to achieve, milestones you wanted to reach? Make a list of all of those, please. What do you want to be celebrating at the end of the year? Get clear on what it is you want to achieve. If you didn't really shift anything or move the needle in any shape or form last year, It might be because you actually didn't really have a clear idea. I didn't. I didn't really start the year with goals. It was a year of, I don't know, it was a really weird year for me. It was a really weird year. It was a year, like I've said, of kind of metamorphosizing into this beginning of 2026 version. So there weren't really concrete goals. It was self-discovery. So very interesting. Number 8, what are your top three priorities for 2026 and why? That's the important bit with this. What are you prioritizing? So maybe you're prioritizing your health, maybe you're prioritizing your work, maybe you're prioritizing a relationship, maybe you're prioritizing a career change. Get clear on where it is you're going to be putting your effort and your energy and why. The why is key because when the going gets tough, it's to everybody. Doesn't everybody? Well, I'm not, but lots of people start the year with a fitness goal. Gonna go to the gym. Gonna be the year I get fit. And then by February, we've not going to the gym, but we've saddled ourselves with a gym membership because actually there's a what's the why? If the why is to get really fit and lose a load of weight and tone up, you're probably not going to be there by February. So we need to keep the why going. This is the goal weight. This is what I want my body to look and feel like. You've got to keep that in mind when you get to February and go, God, I've been slogging away at the gym for twice a week for 4 weeks and nothing really looks that different. Unfortunately, the older you get, I have found the longer it takes for exercise to make an impact. So we need to keep the why in mind of why are we prioritizing the things we're prioritizing? Why do they matter? Keep that in mind. It makes it easier when it gets hard. Number 9, what habits, behaviors, or beliefs need to be released so you can move forwards and achieve the things you want to achieve, create the things you want to create, and be the person you want to be at the end of 2026. This is going to be the deep work that I'm doing in the New Year workshop on the 7th of January. We often need to change the way we think about, talk to, and the things we believe about ourselves in order to be able to achieve bigger things. If you're sitting with a belief of people like me don't do things like that, I'm never going to be good enough. If you've got scarcity beliefs around money, if you have really low self-worth, it's very difficult to get the momentum going for anything to actually change if you're fighting against an internal belief system that's keeping you stuck where you are. Getting out of a comfort zone isn't just about taking action. A lot of it is about actually shifting the beliefs that have kept you stuck in that comfort zone in the first place. So what do you need to let go of in order to move forwards? Number 10, what daily practices will support your goals and support your nervous system and support you to be able to achieve the things you want to achieve? It might be a daily self-care practice. It might be just a nervous system reset each day. It might be going out with your coffee in the morning and putting your feet on the lawn to ground, which is what I have been doing. Very, very powerful, even just for 5 minutes of grounding and rooting and being present. A little bit of time to yourself. They don't have to be huge things. Maybe it's doing 10 minutes of exercise every day. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's connecting with friends non-negotiably once a week. But what daily or weekly practices will support you to be able to create the life that you want to create in 2026? Number 11, where in the last year did you experience the most joy or peace? And how can you create more? It's really important that we are putting our focus on things that bring us joy, places where we feel most ourselves and most nourished, and to actively choose those things that serve us rather than passively allowing ourselves to be buffeted along and doing things that we don't really want to do. I bet you can list out a whole load of things you did last year that you don't really want to do, things you said yes to, people you said yes to, that you wanted to say no to but didn't. That stops this year. That stops. Number 12, this is a great question. If you met your future self, what would they say thank you to you for starting now? What would they thank you for having done for them? It's January. If you start a behavior change or a fitness regime or taking action every day towards something now and you consistently do it for 12 months, your life is going to look very different at the end of 2026. What does that end of 2026 version thank you for doing and starting and committing to now? I'm going to be taking the attendees on my workshop through a shamanic journey to meet the future version of themselves, to check in with, to talk to this version who has achieved the things we want to achieve, and to ask them, how did we get here? What did we need to do? What did we need to let go of? And in the spirit of preparing for this, just before this podcast, I went and did a journey to go and meet the end of 2026 version of me. And what she told me when I said, how did you get to where you've got to at the end of the year with the things you have achieved? I met this really confident version of me. Confident, self-assured, very happy, very, very happy in her own skin. Had achieved quite a lot of things, moved the needle more than I did last year. What she said to me was, I stopped doubting myself and I chose to go all in. I chose to believe in myself and I chose to go for it. So, very enlightening little sentence there that made me go, huh, okay, cool. That's a great place to know where to begin. So if you're keen to join me for the New Year Reflection Setting Workshop, it's happening on Wednesday, the 7th of January. It's 7 p.m. UK time, which will be 9 p.m. South African time. It is morning and afternoon Eastern and Pacific time. All the details are in the show notes. It's £22, which probably works out to be about $30. It's about 500 Rand for South African folks, so super affordable. If you can't make it live, but you would like to access the workshop, there will be a replay, so you can sign up and you'll have access to the replay the following day. Obviously great if you can join live because you've got the opportunity to ask questions and interact a little bit, but there is a replay available if the timings are a bit sticky for people. So I am going to be helping you to really reflect on and look at what worked in 2025, what didn't work in 2025, and what do you need to shift in order to see progress in 2026? The beliefs, the habits, the limiting thoughts. What action needs to be different? How do you need to view yourself differently? We're going to be diving into all of these, and I'm going to, like I've said, take you on a really beautiful guided journey to be able to meet the version of yourself who finishes 2026 exactly where you want to be when you're thinking about your intentions now. We're going to get a lot of information from that. So, love for you to join me. The link is in the show notes. And then we have one more podcast episode coming up next week, which will close off season 4. Season 5, we're going into a quite a different direction with this. So I'm excited to share that with you. And as always, thank you for being with me and listening and sharing this time with me. Looking forward to seeing you on the New Year workshop, and I will see you in the next episode of the podcast. Bye for now.